Hello guys, today I'm here with some new specimens that I got for the collection, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So let's get right into this. First things first, we can start off with some butterflies, and I think we could start with this big one right here. This is a Sericinus montela. These guys come from Asia. This one specifically was collected in China. Now these are Parnassinae butterflies, so they are from the subfamily Parnassinae. And these guys are swallowtails, as you can see by these tails, but these are just very interesting butterflies here. I've never really seen something like it before. Very nice, very cool. Let's get the underside, I guess. Sericinus is a monotypic genus, with this species being the only species. However, there are many subspecies, and there's a lot of debate about its taxonomy. You can read up about it on the internet if you'd like. This gorgeous one is Zerynthia Rumina medesicaste. Now, I don't actually know where these come from. I'm pretty sure all Rumina come from Asia or parts of Europe. I don't think there are any species outside of those two continents, although there might be some in the Americas. This is a male. In fact, every single moth that I'm going to show you is a male, and every butterfly as well. These butterflies are also part of the Parnassinae subfamily like the previous species was, and these are some of the most pretty butterflies that exist. In fact, this is my favorite butterfly genus, the Zerynthia. Absolutely gorgeous species. Amazing. Truly wonderful. This is a Zerynthia polyxena. Now this one was collected, let's see here on the tag, that says Italy. So this one was from Italy, but as I said before, the polyxena, the Zerynthia are from Europe and maybe some parts of Asia. Can't confirm. I haven't done much research on that. I just thought they were pretty, but these are cool. The undersides are also very cool as well. We can show them. This one is also significantly larger than that of the other ones I'll show. As you can see, compared to the Sericinus and the Rumina, this one is quite large, although this one is larger. None of these butterflies are particularly big, but this one just happens to be the largest Zerynthia that I have. However, we can talk about this one now. This is the last one up. This is a Zerynthia Cassandra. This one came to us from France. I also forgot to mention the host plant of these butterflies, which is Aristolochia, or the birthwort family. Never heard of it myself, but it is what they eat. Other Parnassinae, such as Parnassus itself, eat sedum. Very odd plant choices for food. However, that is what they eat. These aren't commonly offered in the hobby, but you will see them from time to time. Next up, we have this box of goodies, and I think we should start with my favorite from all of this, which is probably this one. This gorgeous Saturniidae is the Carnegie mirabilis. This is my favorite species of Saturniidae, pretty much. There are others that can rival it, but not many. This is a male. These guys come from Cameroon and other parts of Africa. I would tell you what they eat, but I have absolutely no clue, because their host plant is not recorded, neither is the caterpillar. Very limited photos exist of the moths themselves, and there are 0 pictures of the caterpillars. This comes from a debated whether or not it exists subfamily called Lunata, and something I noticed about these is the scales on their wings. It almost looks like dust at the edges, and it has such an odd pattern. It almost looks like there's infinitely more scales than a normal insect, or there's like one large scale. It's just so smooth, almost cosmic in a way. It's such an interesting design for an insect. Also, the wings are just amazing as well. This one has sort of messed up antenna and a droopy abdomen, but what can I ask for? It was about $2. Next up, we have one of the most common African Saturnidae that you can find. This is the Orthohoneyebulum agihetum. Say that 3 times fast. Now, Orthohoneyebulum is a very large genus. Something that I forgot to mention about Carnegia is that it is also a monotypic genus, whereas Orthohoneyebulum is a genus that comprises one of the most number of species in all of Africa, over 30. And this is just one of them. Something interesting about Orthohoneyebulum is that most of them look completely identical. This is because due to the definition of a species, that being 2 populations that can breed with each other and produce fertile offspring, due to that definition, it doesn't matter necessarily what the moths look like, just if they can reproduce. And insects actually have this lock and key mechanism going on with their genitalia, and so if they're not the same species, the genitalia does not fit. And that's what happens with most of the Orthohoneyebulum that look the same. They simply just don't have interlocking genitalia. The only way that you'd be able to know it was a different species is if you dissected it, but the point still stands. Next up is the Orthohoneyebulum vestigatum, and this one comes to us from Togo, which is a place in Africa. This one does look different than that of the Orthohoneyebulum agihetum, but they do look very similar. Now, just like Carnegia, the caterpillars are pretty much completely unknown for almost all the species. I think I've seen one picture of a caterpillar. I can take a photo of it and show it to you now. That's from a book that I have, but that's the only life cycle that that's the only picture that I've ever seen. So these guys are very understudied. However, they're still very cool. I do like them. Since there's so little information about most of these, and that's about all I can say, we're just gonna rapid fire. This is the Orthohoneyebulum Ianthinum. Do a quick look at the top. Do an under. Alright, up to the Orthohoneyebulum Prox. This one is the Orthohoneyebulum Prox. This is my favorite species of Orthohoneyebulum. You can see it's quite nice with its fenestrata. Not fenestrata, just the windows and the wings. Fenestrata means wings. That underside. These are some of the prettiest Orthohoneyebulum I've ever seen. The males especially, that's why I bought all males, is because the males have this cool wing shape on them, whereas the females have a cool shape, but it's different, and I don't necessarily like it more than the males. These are also Ludinae, if I did not already mention. Next up is the genus Hoodia, this being Hoodia lunata. Now these are also Ludinae, and I must say, these are some of the prettiest moths I have ever seen, hands down. You really can't compare them to anything. The underside is just wicked cool. These are also much larger than the moths. This is also the largest moth I've shown today, the largest Lepidopteran I've shown today as well. Just such interesting wing patterns. This one does have some grease on the abdomen, but that's fine. Doesn't bother me. Just absolutely flawless wings other than that nick right there and that nick at the bottom. This is a very nice male. I have a couple interesting Hoodia here to show. One of them looks like a female, but it is the male. This is a Hoodyakuzi. This one's kind of interesting to me, because you'd think it's a female based on the shapes of the wings, but no, this is a male. The females sorta look like this, but no, this is a male. Even though those antennae look like females, these are males. The females just look kinda like this as well, but it's very interesting. This is also smaller than all the other ones that I have, but it's still very pretty and very cool. This is the last Hoodia species I have. This is a Hoodia falcata, also a male. This is the most expensive one that I got. This one was $8, which is still not that expensive. However, I take it these must be somewhat rarer than the other Hoodia. I do need to collect the females as well, because you can't have a full collection without the males and females. something I was saving to the last so that I didn't immediately drop all this information in the first Hoodia. The caterpillars of these are known. They have been bred before, some of them at least, and the food plant is known. I can mention the food plant at the bottom of the screen because I don't know it by heart, and I can show a picture of the caterpillar. This one has one of the coolest undersides though. Very nice. But yeah, that's Hoodia. Very nice. If you are a true Saturnidae fan, you've probably been waiting for me to finally stop talking and just get to one of these moths, or you just skipped right to this, and I don't blame you. These are very interesting moths, and although it might look like it, do not be fooled, these are not related to Actius or Argana or Graelsia. These simply evolved the same way. These tails are defense against bats. So as you can see here, when the moths fly, these tails wobble around, and bat echolocation actually reads this wobbling as one big entity. It makes the insect look like one big entity because of all the tails wobbling around, and it messes with the sonar, and that's why these moths have them. It's a defense against bats. But these moths are very cool. The host plant is Albizia, and that is recorded. We do have pictures of one of the caterpillars, but not the other two. This is one of them that we do not have a picture of. This is Argus. And I have another one here, which I think is the other one that we don't have a picture of. But these are very cool. These are my favorite Eudaemonia. I wish I would have got a better specimen, but I cannot complain. Finally, on our list of all the specimens, this is an Eudaemonia Troglophylla. Everything I said is true about this one and the Eudaemonia Argus, except this one is much different, as you can see. It's gray with pink on its tails instead of just pink and brown on its body. As I said before, everything that I showed today is a male, so this is a male. This one does have longer tails though, and this is much larger. There is a third specimen, the Agapontis, which is the one that I mentioned that actually has a recorded larva, but I do not have that one because it was too expensive to buy. It was much more expensive than all the other Eudaemonia specimens, so we're left with these two, which is perfectly fine. I'll get the others at some other point. But that's about all I have to say about all these specimens. And guys, that wraps up this video for now. So, I hope you enjoyed that video. I got those specimens from Lepidop Exchange. It's probably going to be the place where I get all of my moth specimens from now on, or if he ever has in the future a nice selection of like plant hoppers or cool beetles, that's where I'll be getting those specimens from, because they're very high quality specimens. As you saw, every single one of those was basically in perfect condition. The worst looking ones were the Eudaemonia, but they still had both of their tails, which is very good, and it's all cheap. The Eudaemonia was $5. The most expensive thing that I bought from him was the Hoodia Falcata, which was $8. $8, that's it. And that makes a lot of sense because this guy, I think he collects them himself, because on the collection data, all of the collection data had his name listed as the collector, so I think he collects them himself. If you go on Etsy or something, this stuff will be way more expensive than it actually should be. For example, the Eudaemonia Argus, you can pull one off Etsy for $70. $70. I got mine for $5. All of that, everything that I bought, cost about $80. So that's not that much money. It really isn't. Because if you think about it, that's like an average of $6 per specimen. The cheapest one I got was around $2. I got more than 10 specimens. Let's see, 4 Orthogonioptilum, 3 Hoodia, 2 Eudaemonia, 3 Zerynthia, 1 Carnegia, 14 specimens. So yeah, not that expensive whatsoever. I will definitely be purchasing from him in the future, as I said. This is not necessarily an endorsement, because I don't know if he has any shady practices. I've only ever heard about him once. But yeah, guys, if you need cheap specimens, go to him. The only caveat is that shipping is expensive if you live in the USA. Shipping was $55 for me, which was about as expensive as the order. There's also a $50 minimum order. But in the future, I will be purchasing much more specimens from him. I plan to buy a lot of Actius and other cool specimens from him in the future. This was just a test run with some cheaper specimens that I wanted to see if it would even arrive at all, making sure it's not a scam or anything. Didn't think it was, because he's been around a while and he's advertised on InsectNet. But just in case, you know, just checking. However, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see any more specimen videos, or if you want me to make any new videos for old series, because I do have a lot of old series that I should probably revive. We got Spider Hunter, Saturnid Explorers. I just started a new one, which I plan on making a new episode for here soon. But that's about it. See you later.